Today's video is not going to be like any other video I've probably ever made. I am going to talk to you about how you can become financially independent. The way that it's not going to be like the other videos that I've made is that I'm not going to be telling you how I became financially independent. And the reason that that is an important distinction is that you are not me. And I truly want you to know that I am making this video for you. And if you're watching this, this is one that you're going to want to send to a friend or a loved one that you know is going to need to hear this message. I am taking the model that I used for myself without the specifics of how I became financially independent. I'm taking out all of the reselling, all of the print on demand, and the underlying personality traits that I had to cultivate to be able to get to where I am today. I have spent pretty much my entire YouTube career making videos sharing how I became financially successful, the kinds of things I do to create money, the way I found a way to leave a really rough relationship, marriage, and be able to be financially independent to the point that I can homeschool my family, live on my own, travel, and do the things that I want to do. And all of the probably over 2,000 videos I have made have showed the ways that I do that. Now, how this is different for you is that the secret sauce and all of that is me. And you've got to find your secret sauce, which is you. That is so important in all of this because I can show you all day long how to sell things on eBay and how to find things at thrift stores and how to resell jewelry and learn all of these different things. But if it's not something that you are passionate about, something that draws you in, it won't work for you. You will be able to find financial independence, you will be able to make money, but is it going to have the longevity that you want if you're not enjoying yourself? The first thing that I need you to understand is that you need to know yourself. You need to know what interests you, what you love, what you enjoy, and build on that. So an example that I love to use is my sister. She had a passion for learning about bees. She didn't have the money to go buy fancy equipment or take courses, so she found a secondhand bee box, I don't even know what you call it, and a secondhand bee suit, and she cleaned it up and she made it her own. And she started learning on the internet. She started reaching out to people virtually to find out what to do. And slowly over time, that built into something really big. She started the Hill Country Beekeepers Association because there wasn't something there. There wasn't a community of people enjoying that and learning and sharing. She created that. And then in time, she started doing classes. And then in time, she started doing bee removals and getting paid for that. This is something that was a tiny spark of interest for her that grew into something huge. And I want to highlight that because every one of us has got that spark in us for wanting to learn about something new, something that we're passionate about, that we can take and make into something much bigger. Now, bees wouldn't be that for me, just like jewelry might not be that for you. Look inside of you and find that thing. And it doesn't have to be just one thing. My sister is into bees and she started taking courses and became a yoga instructor and vibrational sound therapy. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one particular thing. Because at the end of the day, being able to tell yourself that you built something and you can look at something and say, I did that, I created that, this is my accomplishment. It will do so much for your confidence going forward so that when you hit those roadblocks and you stumble, you'll be able to pick yourself up and know, no, I created something. I did this. I built this. I made this happen in my life. The second thing that I need you to know deep down is that it is attainable. No matter what you think, no matter how you feel in the moment, no matter what excuse that little voice in the back of your head is trying to tell you for why you shouldn't or why you couldn't or why this or why couldn't that, it's dumb, whatever. You need to know it is attainable. Every single thing in this world is something that somebody dreamed up. Every single thing that you can look at, that you're experiencing, is something that started as a flash of an idea in somebody's head. And if all of the millions of people that created all of the millions of things in this world could do it, so can you. Don't allow any voices to sneak in to give you doubt. You need to know it is attainable. It might take time, might not be overnight, but it can be done. The next thing I really want you to know is not to be discouraged by failure. Everybody fails. Everybody. And everybody that is successful takes that failure and they get up and they keep moving. They shake it off. They don't allow themselves to be dragged down by a failure. Imagine what the world would be like if every time someone failed, they gave up. If every time someone didn't have things go exactly the way they wanted and exactly the timing they wanted, they stopped and gave up. What kind of world do you think we would be living in right now? So this is a calling for you to say to yourself, if I fail, it's okay. I can get up and start again. And that rolls right into the next one is not giving up and not despairing. It is so easy, especially if you've been in that mindset of failure and then despair and giving into pity, basically self-pity, and like making yourself feel bad or self-loathing. You've got to stop doing that to yourself. All right? You've got to stop allowing yourself to beat yourself up when things don't go exactly the way you think they should. If you have a failure, that's an opportunity to step up, take a look at what happened, and really evaluate, okay, why did this fail? Was it me? Was it something external? What could I have done differently? And work from that. The next important step that I know for me, anytime something didn't work or something, every time I had a miss, or I say in reselling, I thought, you know what? People make a lot of money selling clothes. So I went out and I bought clothes. It didn't work for me. I did not enjoy it. There was money there, but I hated every minute of it. I took that as a learning experience and knew that that was bringing me one step closer to what I do love and to what I do enjoy. Everything you can figure out that isn't for you brings you another step closer to what is for you. My next suggestion is to make a list of your strengths and your interests. Even if this feels strange or odd or like self-gratifying, like selfish, to make a list of the things that you are truly good at and the things that you are truly interested in, do it anyway. Every single person on this earth has strengths. Every single person on this earth has interests of their own, not based on what your family thinks you should do or your husband or spouse thinks you should do or what they think you're good at. It doesn't matter. You've got to listen to yourself and make a list. What am I good at? And try to build on that every day, because you're good at so many things and your interests are valid and your interests are important. There's a reason that you have these interests and these strengths, and learning how to put these things together is going to be everything for your future. And if you're still not sure how this will bring you financial independence, what I'm going to suggest to you is to look at your strengths, look at your interests, and take time to think, or even just to empty your head. A lot of times, my sister calls it shower thoughts. When she's in the shower, these ideas come to her. Find someone that you can truly be yourself with and talk to them about these things. And suddenly, ideas will start coming, start flowing. Or take, for me, like if I can just empty my mind, I like to do journaling. I will empty my mind, or I'll ask a question and just see what my subconscious starts flowing out with, and just try not to put any parameters on it. So whether you like to do this in prayer or sitting quietly or in journal, sit, ask a question to the universe, to God, to yourself, whoever, whatever you want to do, and see what comes. Because a lot of times in those quiet moments, when you can get all of the other extra noise out of your head, ideas will come. Your intuition will kick in and things will start flowing. I'm a huge proponent of seeing where interests are and building from that. I've tried my best to show that to my kids. When we can't find a group or an activity or a class or something for something they're interested in, I'll use art. My youngest is really into animation, digital art, graphic art. There wasn't a whole lot of that in the homeschool realm, especially when it came to graphic art and animation. And so, because he had such an interest in that, and because I myself was not going to be teaching that, it wasn't something I had time to learn and to teach to a group, we created a group that built into something really big and special where the teens in the group started teaching each other and started giving each other challenges. And it was something that was amazing. It's something I would love to build again now that we're here in Colorado. But at the time, it was a great indicator, a great example of having an interest, seeing a need, and being able to fill that need. Now, this wasn't something we ended up charging for, but it is something that would absolutely be something that could have been charged for, even a small entrance fee. And as we speak right now, my kids are playing Dungeons and Dragons with a young man who has a passion for being a DM, Dungeon Master, and he is so good at it. And so he is able to build to be a professional dungeon master. And I mean, this is what he gets to do all day. It's amazing. So being able to find what you truly love, seeing there's a need for this here, and building it into something that you can make into a business for yourself. So I've given a few examples just from the few people I know. Beekeeping, bee removal, bee classes. My sister's into bees. Art and animation. My son could have very easily made that a business and created a group class scenario and charged entrance for that. This young man that is being a dungeon master for my kids' D&D campaigns, and he's getting paid very nicely for the work that he's doing, and he's having a blast doing it. So as you can see, there are all of these niches, anything, even if it doesn't exist yet, you can create it. My next piece of advice is huge, and that is to keep learning. Always be learning. I am constantly learning new things. I'm constantly going down some rabbit hole, learning something new, because you don't know what kind of ideas are going to be sparked from that. You don't know what kind of new information you're going to get from that, and how much it's going to enrich you and how much it will enrich the people around you. A lot of what I'm talking about and a lot of the roadblocks that I know you've got are internal, the internal voice. This is technically something I was going to talk about more at the end, but the more I am recording this, the more I'm realizing that you need to hear this. The only thing that's holding you back is yourself. The only thing that's holding you back is that voice in your head that either you've put there for some reason or somebody has, what I call, programmed it into you. I keep catching myself saying things to myself that maybe was something that my dad said when I was a kid, or my mom said, or my grandmother, or an aunt. Somebody along the way made some offhand comment, and that one little thing spanned the rest of my life to the point where when I hear myself say it, I have to ask myself, wait a minute, is that true? Do I believe that? Did I put that there? Did I put that thought there? And so you have got to really take a look at the way you're talking to yourself, the kinds of things you're saying to yourself, and ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is this something I believe? Is this something that somebody else wants me to believe, whether it's somebody from the past or somebody in your present that is telling you things that is good for them? Because most of the time when people say negative things to you, or when people act or say negative things to you, the reason they're doing it is because it serves them. Because people don't say or do negative things to each other just on a whim. And yes, I'm even talking about people that are sadists. They hurt people because they enjoy it, or somebody is telling you something to make you comply with what they want, or they're trying to put you in a box that they can understand. I mean, I had this happen to me so much growing up because I was an odd child. I was a little bit different. I was a little sensitive. I was a little more artistic, and I liked to act and be silly. And that wasn't always something that fit into other people's boxes. And so it is something that I have had to learn, even to this day, still. I'm not weird. One of the reasons that I joined Toastmasters to push myself, because when I walk into a room of people that I don't know, or when I meet people I don't know, the initial thing that I think, they're going to think I'm weird. Please don't act weird. Don't do something weird. Don't say something weird. And I have to say to myself, where does this come from? It has been conditioned in me from years of people, not just family, but just all kinds of people making offhanded comments. And I have taken that and really internalized it. So some of them are deeper than others. Sometimes you can hear yourself say something, well, that's dumb. And you can, no, I'm not going to talk to myself that way. That's not dumb. That's an idea. It's valid. But really digging into that and knowing that you can take that old programming that people have put into you because it served them in the moment, whether they did it intentionally or just unintentionally. We say things all the time that maybe we don't realize how it affects other people, and start looking at that for yourself and asking, is that true? No. Okay, let's start breaking that pattern. Whenever you hear it come up, that little voice in your head, you hear it, have something ready. Have something ready. Have a response to your thoughts, negative thoughts, ready, so that you can counteract them as soon as you recognize that it's happening. Now, this might be a strange one to follow that with, but to listen to your intuition. And I mean that positive intuition that comes with like those gut feelings, those strong feelings where you feel like this is the right thing to do, or this is a really good idea, or I really enjoy this, no matter what anyone else says, no matter if somebody thinks it's weird. My intuition says, like, I would really like that, or I would not probably like that, So listen to yourself and trust yourself. Again, if it's something negative and hurtful, not that stuff. The positive things, the encouraging things, the things that are going to build you up and make you a better person. And I do want to address, like, if you have people in your life that are bringing you down or second guessing you or naysaying you or making you feel a little ouch inside, I know it's not always feasible and realistic to say to remove them from your life, because it could be a family member, it could be a spouse that doesn't realize that that's what's happening, that they say little offhanded things. And it's nothing that's like a huge, big fight type of deal, but it's enough to feel like a little pinprick, like they're just walking by and poking you with a little pin. It's worth, if you have the kind of relationship with that person, to say, why are you saying that to me? Why are you doing that to me? And if they get defensive, and if, it just depends on the situation, but try to keep it focused on what they said and why they said that. I had something recently happen where a person was very stressed and angry about a situation that was happening. And I ended up being the recipient of the anger, because the person they were truly angry at, they could not express it to them. It wasn't okay to express it to them. So when I called and I was getting a tongue lashing, basically, I just listened and then finally said, it sounds like you're mad at me. Is there something that I did to make you talk to me this way? And it really made them take a step back and think about, like, wait a minute. Yeah, she didn't do this to me. But it's worth it's not even starting a fight, but just holding a mirror saying, are you meaning to hurt me with that? Because that's what's happening. You're saying something that's hurtful to me. So it's important, especially if it's an important person in your life that is unintentionally hurting you to bring you down for whatever reason. They may not mean it. It may be something that they believe about themselves. I used to have a partner that frequently would say things, like, I'm never going to get ahead, or, that I'm always going to be, and I would just constantly have to say, that's not true. That's not true. Or you're never going to blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I'm like, no, that's not true. That would just be my response. Well, if that's what you think about yourself, then I guess that's true. I wouldn't entertain it. I wouldn't have a discussion with it if it was something negative. I would just say, no, that's not true about me, or that's not true about you, but if you want to believe that, okay, you know, and hopefully it helped. I mean, I know it helped me because I wouldn't allow myself to get sucked into that. So keep that in mind. I know that makes it really hard, especially if it's a person you care about. If it is something like I've shared, I was in a pretty rough marriage, and it took time for me to get out of it, which is how I ended up where I am now. But over the years of me constantly feeling like I was being pressed down, or I was being silenced, or I was being criticized, amongst amongst other things, those things and those treatments of me eventually made me want to pull away and figure out how to become financially independent. Anytime you hear that voice coming from inside of you or externally, every time that you're able to stop yourself, correct that voice, or hold a mirror up to that person and say, this is not right, or no, that's not me. Every time that happens, take a moment to be proud of yourself, because it is another stair step to becoming stronger and more financially independent. And if you're asking yourself, like, well, what does one thing have to do with the other thing? It has everything to do with it. I'm taking the model that I used for myself without the specifics of how I became financially independent. I'm taking out all of the reselling, all of the print on demand, and the underlying personality traits that I had to cultivate to be able to get to where I am today. So being able to look at your accomplishments, however small, and know that you're building something great, knowing that you will get there. Because from the time I realized that I needed to get out of my marriage to the time when I was financially able to do it, it probably took 5 years. But what was the alternative for me? The alternative was to stay in a marriage indefinitely because I didn't have the financial means to leave with my children? No. Every single day, I learned. I tried to create something. I trusted my instincts. I didn't listen to that voice of somebody saying, this is dumb. What are you doing? Is this really going to work? I can't believe you're doing that. All of those little things that can easily push you down and keep you in place and keep you the way other people maybe want you to be because they understand it. They can control it, whatever their motivations are. Or maybe it's somebody from your past. I mean, this is the thing. It's like everybody's got such a different dynamic that it's so hard to say, here, do what I do, and you will be successful. It really is internal. You have got to get inside of yourself and retrain your thought process and retrain trusting yourself and being proud of yourself and knowing yourself and finding what you love. Because there's a world of information out there. Everything you could possibly want to know is at your fingertips. Every possible, anything of success, anything you could dream of is at your fingertips. And I believe in you. It may take time, but don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Believe in yourself. Be proud of yourself. And you can do it. You can do it. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will talk to you on the next one.